Hello YouTube, this is Dazza the Cameraman. This is part 3 in my response to ZeroPointUFO about chemtrails. In this section we're going to look at ZeroPointUFO's claims about aluminium, aluminium oxide, chemtrails and HAARP. ZeroPointUFO now goes off on a tangent from the current discussion and starts talking about HAARP and the alleged relationship from chemtrailing. He says, if you agree HAARP is reality, then you agree that at some point HAARP was a top secret project, just like any other military project. It is plausible then that covert methods were used to carry out operations without civilian knowledge. It's not a conspiracy, it's how things are done at top levels. What remains now is the relationship between HAARP projects and chemtrailing. End quote. Next, ZeroPointUFO attempts to use patent applications as proof that chemtrails are being used in a global geoengineering program. I quote ZeroPoint, "First, do you deny that aluminium is used to deflect unwanted sun rays away from the Earth in an effort to mitigate global warming? Let me call attention towards the following patent filed in 1990 found here," and he provides a link. Please read it. I quote, "One proposed solution to the problem of global warming involves the seeding of the atmosphere with metallic particles. One technique proposed to seed the metallic particles was to add tiny particles to the fuel of jet airliners so that the particles would be emitted from the jet engine exhaust while the airliner was at its cruising altitude. Such materials can include the class of materials known as Welsbach materials. The oxides of metal, e.g. aluminum oxide, are also suitable for this purpose." End quote. ZeroPointUFO uses a patent application in an attempt to prove that chemtrails are real and that aluminum is being used. However, he overlooks some key points. In the quote that ZeroPointUFO uses, we see the words "one proposed solution" and "one technique proposed." ZeroPointUFO seems to fail to understand that an idea, concept or proposal is not the same as a fact, and that a patent application is not proof that something actually exists. If we accept that a patent is in fact proof of something, then we must also believe that time travel is also a reality. For example, here is a patent for a walking through walls training system. Quote, "This invention is a training system which enables a human being to acquire sufficient hyperspace energy in order to pull the body out of dimensions so that the person can walk through solid objects such as wooden doors." There's the link, which will be in the description area. Here is another one. Here is a patent for a practical time machine using dynamic, efficient, virtual and real robots. Quote, "A method for time travel which allows an object or a group of objects to travel into the past or the future, as well as a method to cut objects from the past or future and paste them to the current environment." And there is the link. ZeroPointUFO continues, "When I claimed that we're being sprayed, I didn't mean sprayed with fairy floss. I meant sprayed with one of the most toxic substances known to the human body, aluminium oxide. It makes no difference if we're being sprayed intentionally or not. It's falling on us, all of us." End quote. ZeroPointUFO claims that we're being sprayed with one of the most toxic substances known to the human body, aluminium oxide. Now my response to that, aluminium and aluminium oxide certainly are not, quote, "one of the most toxic substances known to the human body," end quote. In fact, we use aluminium in food and beverage containers, vessels, utensils, pots and packaging all the time. ZeroPointUFO seems to overlook the fact that humans have been cooking their food in aluminium pots and drinking beverages out of aluminium cans for years. If aluminium and aluminium oxide were truly, quote, "one of the most toxic substances known to the human body," end quote, we certainly wouldn't be using it to cook in and drink from. And yes, I am aware of the claimed link between aluminum and Alzheimer's dementia, but if you do more research you will find that the jury is still out on that one. After all, we are still drinking out of aluminum cans and cooking from aluminum cooking pots They're still available for sale, so how would that be possible if aluminum was one of the most toxic substances known to the human body? That just makes no sense at all. By the way, aluminum, barium and strontium are also used in fireworks to give the brilliant colours when the fireworks burn. I wonder if ZeroPointUFO is also campaigning for fireworks and public fireworks displays to be banned because he says aluminium is, quote, one of the most toxic substances known to the human body, end quote. Imagine all the aluminum, barium and strontium that is released into the atmosphere during public fireworks displays, raining down on people below, inhaling what he calls as, quote, one of the most toxic substances known to the human body, end quote. Yes, aluminium is harmful in large enough quantities, but it certainly isn't, quote, one of the most toxic substances known to the human body, end quote. There are other chemicals that we use on a daily basis which are also toxic in large enough quantities, including sodium chloride or common salt, ethanol, alcohol, most of us drink alcohol, ethanol is also toxic, and even the dreaded dihydrogen monoxide, which can be fatal if ingested in large quantities or inhaled in small quantities. What is dihydrogen monoxide, I hear you ask? Its common name is water, or H2O. Yes, too much water can be fatal, and a small amount, when inhaled, can be fatal. ZeroPointUFO continues. You basically agree that HAARP is a reality, but you're quick to claim over-exaggeration by conspiracy theorists. You also agree weather modification is a reality. Well, how do you suspect one might mitigate weather without a means to manipulate the weather? Metal oxides are a reality, and I've provided the patents for it. You claim HAARP and chemtrailing isn't the same thing. I call BS. It's in the same basket of technologies derived for weather control. One is a rifle and the other is a scope for the rifle. I'm not sure how you can go around screaming conspiracy on a simple issue when you actually believe in things much more far-fetched than chemtrails, such as the ionosphere control. Both programs are funded by the military. Geoengineering is geoengineering. You can't nitpick by individualizing HAARP and chemtrailing separately. Read the HAARP patents carefully. That clearly says that subatomic particles are used. Particles are used to mitigate global warming, i.e. weather, and HAARP is used to control weather via ionosphere manipulation. Do you see the relationship? If you believe in HAARP, you automatically believe in chemtrailing. Your very own statements don't leave much room for the contrary. Do I need to mention that aluminum is used in fighter jets as chaff countermeasures to spoof AIM 120 AMRAAM and similar radar-guided missiles? Sounds mighty similar to how aluminium oxide is used to deflect rays from space in order to protect electronics to me. You wrote, yes, HAARP is a reality, but its purpose and use is wildly exaggerated by conspiracy believers. Either particles are placed in the air or they're not. Either they are manipulating the weather or they are not. There are no exaggerations, no distinctions. We've seen stranger things take place than this little chemtrail issue. Conspiracy theorists have been vindicated in the following article, and then he posts a link to above top secret. ZeroPoint seems to have a habit of making assumptions of what I believe on my behalf. This time, he says, if you believe in HAARP, you automatically believe in chemtrailing. Really? That's like saying, if you believe in horses, you automatically believe in unicorns. Or, if you believe in seals, you automatically believe in mermaids. Or, if you believe in Irishmen, you automatically believe in leprechauns. Yes, HAARP is a reality, and as I said in my earlier comments on YouTube, quote, yes, HAARP is a reality, but its purpose and use is wildly exaggerated by conspiracy believers, end quote. HAARP is not chemtrailing, and chemtrailing is not HAARP, despite the fact that you want to believe that the two are connected. And again, quote, yes, weather modification is a reality, but again, is wildly exaggerated by the chemtrail conspiracy believers. Weather modification in the form of very localized cloud seeding has been used for decades, but this is not the same as a global chemical spraying program, i.e. chemtrails, end quote. Again, ZeroPointUFO mentions patents. but I have already dealt with that. And he also mentions the fact that, quote, aluminum is used in fighter jets as chaff countermeasures, end quote. But again, so what? Aluminum is also used in fireworks, cooking pots, drinking cans, etc. Next up, ZeroPointUFO deals with the apparent stopping and starting of the trails as we see them in the sky, but we'll deal with that in the next video in my response, part 4. As always, do check out my Facebook discussion page, Voices of Reason to Explain X, Vortex. You'll find a link in the description area, and remember to subscribe if you'd like updates. Thank you for watching.